What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and check it out. Just got back from seeing Thunderbolts at one of my local theaters, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, like most of you, and I was not necessarily super excited for this movie. I thought it was kind of random. Had some random characters that were just kind of leftovers from a bunch of other movies, and it has gone through tons of rewrites and stuff like that. So my hopes were not high. And then, like most of you, I started seeing the earlier reviews, and they were wildly positive. And I am here to tell you they are not a lie. This movie has absolutely no business being as good as it is. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Some of the best writing I think we've seen in a Marvel movie in quite some time. I think they wrote these characters perfectly. And it's kind of wild when you think about it. We're talking about effectively D-list characters, right? Like these are leftover characters, like background characters, or the main villain in most of these, in many of the Marvel projects we've seen. Obviously, we have David Harbour as Red Guardian. We also have Olga Kurylenko as whatever bastard version of Taskmaster they came up with, and of course Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, the White Widow, all from the Black Widow movie. And then we pair them up with Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, so who's obviously, I would say Winter Soldier is about a, obviously the MCU has elevated him a bit, but he's about a B-list character, the most highly regarded of the group. Then you have Hannah John-Kamen as Ava Starr, Ghost. We saw her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And, other than that, we've got Wyatt Russell as John Walker, U.S. agent. And then a new character, Louis Pullman as Robert Reynolds. We'll get into him in a minute. Obviously, you all know that he is the Sentry. So this is not a great group of characters, right? We're dealing with the White Widow, we're dealing with Ghost, we're dealing with U.S. Agent, Red Guardian, Taskmaster. I mean, a who's who of who cares in Marvel. And somehow they made me care more about all of these characters than some of my absolute favorite characters in the entire Marvel universe. That's how well written this movie is. And don't get me wrong, it's like not even spectacular, but like the writing itself, like the story is nothing like fancy, right? It's just a very straightforward movie that does its job and makes everything matter. And you really see a lot of growth from these characters. Florence Pugh, I feel like, is unquestionably the star of the movie. Louis Pullman is really good too, and Sebastian Stan and Wyatt Russell, like these are all like next level actors. They all do amazing work, and I'm actually very interested now to see where the story goes from here for these characters. Like these are not like characters that we're just going to write off into the sunset. Like they have a place in the Marvel universe now, and I'm very excited to see what it could be. Obviously, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in the movie as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and don't forget the duh, as she will tell you. And another character we're not really supposed to care about, and they find a way to make her super interesting. I think it's. I've watched a little bit of Veep, not a lot. It's definitely not Elaine from Seinfeld, but I think it's more like her character from Veep, if we're going to be honest. And I think, really, it's just, I don't want to give you too many spoilers or anything, but everything ties together super nicely. And again, you just care about these characters. It's definitely a refurbishment of them. And it ties into what's going to happen next. So there's an after credit scene. There's a mid credit scene, which is cute. It's definitely something that you would expect to see from Marvel. And then there's an after credit scene, which is your typical Marvel after credit scene, but it is the after credit scene that I think has meant the most for what happens next in the MCU than anything else I can remember in recent memory. Like you're going to want to pay attention because there's a lot of conversation and you want to hear what they say. But yeah, man, like this movie does super well. I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10. Like it's one of the better MCU movies, especially post Endgame, which I know isn't necessarily saying much, but like this is I can't understate like how well made the movie is. And it's like I said, it's not even some like master plan story that you have to follow and pay attention to. Everything just works, like how the characters got together and why it's I don't want to say too much. Like how the characters get together, what brings them to working together further, and then getting through a lot of trauma. There is like a really cool story. If you know anything about the Sentry is basically like Marvel's Superman in a lot of ways, except he's powered by this thing called the Void. And the Void is very evil and can take over for the Sentry. And this really kind of explains, what we're working with here. I personally hate the Void because he made my boy Richard Rider's life miserable and ended it at one point. So, but the Sentry's a very powerful character. I know my buddy Doomkiller loves him, and honestly, he's a very relatable character because he's got a lot of mental health issues, and you see all of these flawed characters and their trauma that they've acquired through the process of becoming who they are and how they're able to get through it, and I think that's the relatable part of the story, but it's done in a way where it's like, oh, I don't want this in my Marvel movie, you know what I mean? I just want superhero shit, right? And I think in a lot of cases that's what I think we all want, but we get a lot of that. We do get plenty of that. There's plenty of that Marvel humor that we all know and possibly love. I mean, sometimes it could be too much. Sometimes they can get carried away, but I feel like it's got that perfect blend. And because Yelena's character, like Yelena, if you've loved Yelena and what we've seen in Black Widow and what we've seen in Hawkeye, if you've grown to appreciate the attitude that her character has, like I have, you're going to get it tenfold. Like she's very sardonic, I think is the word I want to use. She's very little dark humor, very sarcastic, and honestly, I didn't think I was going to care about Ghost that much, but and this is one of those gender bended characters, and I hate it when they do that, but I'm fine with it. Like I don't know a lot about Hannah John-Kamen, but like I feel like we see a good amount of her in this movie, and I feel like Ghost is going to be a character that we're all going to be kind of like, oh, when's she coming to Marvel Rivals? You know what I mean? Hopefully not anytime soon. I mean, give me Nightcrawler before her. But anyway, I don't know, man. And Wyatt Russell is so good. Like I like him. I really do. And, obviously his pops is, legend, but, apple didn't fall far from the tree. And, you're going to care about U.S. Agent. And Sebastian Stan is a little bit different in this one, and Bucky's a little bit different, but it works really well. So, I mean, the bottom line is, I don't want to let it go too far. Again, would love to sit here and just tell you everything that happens, but I feel like this is the type of movie that's worth seeing in the theater. Movies are expensive to go to, and I think the biggest takeaway from this is there wasn't really a point in time that I was really bored. Some of these Marvel movies, or even any of the comic book movies, they sometimes have like somewhat of a lull here and there. And maybe once you get into the fourth act that kind of deals with the Void, maybe that is somewhat of the weakest link. But like I say that like almost as if I'm trying to find something to criticize. You know what I mean? Like that was like not the quote, I would say not the best part of the movie, but it's still really good, and I still really enjoyed it, and I think you're really gonna like it. I honestly cannot. You'd have to be pretty miserable to come out of this movie disappointed. I think they did a great job, and it's not even just that they did a great job. they did a great job by any standard, let alone the fact that it's the Thunderbolts, okay, with a weird cast and group of leftover characters from other Marvel MCU properties. So, which is crazy to me. It's crazy. Who wrote this? Whoever the writer is, director Jake Schreier, writers Eric Pearson, Joanna Kahlo, and Kurt Busiek, who's a comic book writer. So like that combo of people, keep them involved. All right, the MCU needs people like them. I don't know who is like the main driving person behind everything that happened, but I would trust them moving forward. You know what I mean? So that's what we got. That is the Thunderbolts. I would love to know what you guys think. Please try not to do spoilers in the comments if you can. Obviously, if you read the comments, be warned, there could be spoilers. I'm not deleting anything, but, you clicked on a movie review. You have to understand there's a possibility. But anyway, love to know what you guys think. If you see it, we'll see it.